All right, so let's go to our power rankings, Ron.
Yeah, we're going to spend some time on this
Ron,
for sure.
Who do you have as your power ranking?
All right, so I still have Kansas City number 1 for now. They hold on to that rank. I got Detroit at number 2. Last week I had Buffalo there. Minnesota, I moved them up from number 4. They are at number 3 right now. Houston, I moved from number 6 to number 4. Baltimore, I mentioned they've been in my top 10 the entire time. They were number 9 last week. I got them at number 5. Buffalo, I dropped all the way to 6. I had them at 2 last week. Atlanta, I moved up 1 spot to number 7. Seattle, impressive. I didn't have them ranked in my top 10 last week. I got them at number 8. San Fran, I didn't have in my top 10 either. I was impressed, even though,
it was the
Patriots. They still looked pretty good, and they were only going to get healthier. So I got them at number 9. And then Pittsburgh, I got falling from number 7 to 10 with their loss to the Colts.
Yeah, basically, I don't have any issue with your power rankings. Maybe Atlanta, because they're 2-2. I think they're 2-2. Yeah. And Baltimore is a strong 2-2. As you can see, I actually have them in my ranking.
Strong. So they're strong 2-2.
They're strong 2-2. So I have Buffalo as my number 1, and they didn't show up against Baltimore. So I moved them. I got Minnesota at 1. Kansas City, I still got at number 2, but they are soft for 4-0 team. They are very, very soft. Hence why I picked them to lose this week. I moved Pittsburgh, even though they lost.
Yeah,
I still
walk me
moved them.
through this.
Well, what don't you like? They're 3-1. What don't you like?
They lost to the Colts in embarrassing fashion.
So
how could they move up in your rankings?
So you think that they're not as good as Houston?
No, I don't think. No, not at all. I wouldn't put them. If they were to play, if these two teams were healthy, I think.
No. Right now.
I think Houston would beat them right now.
Wow. Low expectation to the Pittsburgh, but I moved them up. I got Detroit, Buffalo. They fell. Seattle, even though they lost to Detroit, I still think they're a good team. I got Houston. I got Tampa Bay. I was going to put New Orleans there, but I was like...
No consideration for Atlanta?
Atlanta still had to prove me. Just like Baltimore did. They still have to prove me.
Can Atlanta be 4-0 right now? 3-1 at the very least?
Listen, now that we know that Philadelphia is a team that might be without a head coach next week. We don't know if they're good. I got Washington in my top 10.
Okay.
Got Washington out of nowhere. I think that was, other than Baltimore, I think that was my biggest surprise. That Washington, with a rookie QB, has made my list as a top 10 ranking.
I'm not putting them in there just yet.
Hey, it's your prerogative. And I got Baltimore because they embarrassed Buffalo. I mean, the Buffalo, they just scored a touchdown, right? They scored a touchdown.
Yeah. So just to be clear, Baltimore was not in your top 10 at all last week.
All 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
See. No, I'm sorry. They were there week 1. They were there.
They dump trucked your number 1 team last week in Buffalo, and they only moved to the 10th spot.
That's right.
Okay. Then you got Pittsburgh moving up, even though they lost. You got Tampa, which is I wouldn't say that's that questionable. I think that whole division's up in the air, to be honest with you. But
is Tampa leading the division? Yes. Is Pittsburgh leading the division? Yes. Who else is leading the division that is on my list? Seattle leading the division? Yes.
What's Tampa's record inside the division?
I have no idea.
0-0.
Okay.
Atlanta's 1-0.
Pittsburgh, they haven't played anyone in the division.
Yeah, but Atlanta's 1-0 in the division.
Good for them. It was against, who was it? The Saints?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to happen. We expected that division to be terrible. terrible. So until they start playing each other, like what's going to happen on Thursday.
Don't put any of those teams in your
I tried. Believe me, I tried. And I was like, I got to put Tampa, because I was like, do I put New Orleans or I put Tampa? I went with Tampa. So every division leader, to me, the fan base is happy because their team is on top. Except for you, Ron, because for some reason you don't think the Seals are good enough. But all the division leaders are on my top 10 because, listen, if you're number one, and I saw a tweet, somebody, I don't know if it was NBC or CBS, but they were like, if the playoffs were to start today, I hate that tweet.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't start today. So, anyways, I put Tampa, Washington, and Baltimore. And maybe next season we stretch it out to all 32 teams. I don't know. Maybe because we want to keep this podcast to 1 hour. So we can't do every team.